Now it's recording, that's okay. We will see what happens, and then we can redo it. We've lost Tay, but that's okay. I don't know where he's gone.
Clip is still processing. Fuck's sake. So bad.
It's when you hover over Tay, it says recording in high quality, so I'm assuming it's working.
Yeah, but if it's stop and start.
Well, it hasn't stopped and started, and you're recording again, so...
Yeah, but Tay, can you hear every word that we're saying?
You good now? Yep, it was just that first little bit Maddie said that I missed, but I've got everything since then.
Oh, let's just give it a go.
Cool. All right, let's just go from there. All right, start again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. All yours.
Welcome back to the Make It Epic Wedding Podcast. You are with Tim and Matt today. And oh my goodness, Tim, I am so bloody excited for today because we have one of the best musos in the wedding industry going around at the moment. And
we have waited
got some golden
a
nuggets
long
for you.
time. We have waited an absolute long time to get one of the industry's greats on here. And we needed to make our first musician on the podcast a special one. And we got a real treat for you guys. It's Mr. Tay Plain. Mate, how are you?
Oh my goodness, what an introduction. I tell you what, I'm feeling good after that. Thanks for having us, fellas.
No worries, mate. It's so good to have you on. And look, I'm just going to start off real quickly and put a little, little inverted commas asterisk out there that Tay must be pretty damn good because he actually sung at my wedding and he was the muso at my wedding. So, look.
we need a drum roll.
We should have thought about this earlier. How you going, Tay? What's happening, mate? It's so good to catch up with you again. And look, I always love seeing your name on some run sheets whenever we get to work together because it's always a treat.
Absolutely, brother. It is. It's a good time to be alive. 2023. What a year! There's a lot of weddings happening and everything is cooking. And I'll tell you what, it's the same here, Matty. When I see your guys' names on the run sheets, I know it's going to be an epic wedding because that's what you guys do. That's what you guys do, right? You make it epic, and I love it. It's always good seeing you guys. And,
yeah.
It's good to have a chat, finally. It's good.
Love it.
Well, what's been happening, mate? What's been happening in the wild kind of like world of weddings? You keeping yourself busy?
Mate, I have been flat out. I did a record for myself last year, and this year's looking to top that by another 20 weddings or so. So it's a wild time to be in the industry, but I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I've been I just finished 6 weddings in the last 11 days, and that was a bit of a tough run. But even when it's busy, I still keep those vibes high because it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be part of, man. We get to party with people on the biggest day of their life, and it's quite a privilege. So, no, very busy, lots of weddings. I do try and squeeze in other gigs when I can, just so I can meet couples and things. But yeah, mainly it's just from wedding to wedding at this time of year.
Yeah. Okay.
That's sick.
Let's tell the audience a little bit about who you are, mate. So who's Tay Plain? What do you do?
Sweet. Well, I am a musician, guitarist, singer since when I was a little fella. I've always loved music. Music's kind of been part of my world. And so what I do now is I had a place in my life where I can do it for a living, which is quite a privilege. And I sing and play guitar. I learn special songs. I learn acoustic versions for ceremonies and make the bride's dream come true on a wedding day. So I bring that kind of acoustic sweet vibe to the ceremony in the afternoon, build up some vibes there, and sometimes have my band join with me or a duo and different things. And then when the reception comes along, I'm a DJ and MC, so keep those vibes flowing from the beginning right through to the end. And man, I love it. So yeah, that's what I do. Bit of live music, DJ, and
love
MC.
It, man. Absolutely love it.
Well, now you do a lot of things. There's a lot going on there, mate. And I'm so excited to dive into this. And obviously, me and Tim are pretty privileged because we get to see you do your thing, and you are, as we said at the start, you're killing it. So, but I'm sure that people listening are super intrigued to find out how you achieve all of your hats on a day, for sure. But maybe tell us a little bit more. How did you become a muso? How did you I'm sure you didn't just go to school, finish school, and go, all right, I'm going to start singing songs.
Watch Serenade Singer. Adam Sandler vibes.
Great movie.
Yep, that's me, baby. That's me.
Great movie, man. And I've actually had a few requests from that movie, man, too. So, great movie. Watch it, guys, after you've listened to this podcast. The Wedding Singer, great film, Adam Sandler. Okay, so how did I get amongst it?
Actually, Tay.
Well, I actually started in the wedding industry and the world of videoing. So similar to Timmy, I filmed weddings for about 5-6 years, maybe a bit longer, up and down the south coast of New South Wales. I worked for a photographer. He was one of the leading photographers in Wollongong at the time, and kind of cut my teeth in the wedding world doing video. However, I loved it and it was a good time, but like I mentioned, music's always been my passion, hey, since I was like a little dude, tearing it up, running around, pretending to be a guitar man. And so as I was shooting weddings, I just saw some musos not quite there. And they were, I'm like, kind of killing the atmosphere a bit. And I'm thinking, come on guys, it's not rocket science. It's just, play some music people are loving, play a little bit for grandma, play a little bit for, mix it up and give the people what they want. And then I just had a light bulb moment and I thought, hang on a second, maybe that's what I should be doing because I was so passionate about it. So I crossed over from filming into the world of music and happened pretty quickly actually, and I've never looked back. Hey, I just love it. So that's how I got into the music side of things.
That is amazing, man. What a contrast.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I don't think I realized that you did video as well.
Yeah, filmed for, and that's kind of how I got my, feel for the industry and saw what worked, what doesn't, and just kind of learnt that it's not about being a rock star. It's about working as a team to create just an epic day for your couple and give their guests the best celebration ever and something that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. And I think the DJ and the MC side of things kind of just came by default. People kept asking me, "Do you DJ? Do you MC?" And I was like, "No." And then I thought, well, hang on, I've seen that done a million times. I could probably do that. And then, just did it. Got into it, taught myself the ropes, and over the years just kind of became a pro at it. And so now I can kind of seamlessly just put it all together and, bring that vibe.
Yeah.
It's good.
Mate, you absolutely rock it too. Like the amount of weddings that we've had together, and like it's not as simple as just playing a playlist, is it? Like it really isn't. Like you really have got to have like an understanding of like how to read the room, like what do like the people want, and almost like try and like bring like the vibe, because like we've spoken about on the podcast so many times, and the role that music plays, like influencing like positive emotions, influencing like a good atmosphere and a good environment. And mate, you've got the control for that one.
Yeah. Hey, mate, the way you're talking, you better be careful, bro. You might cross over from video to music as well. You nailed it there. That's exactly true, man.
Oh, like, mate, I cannot sing for shy. I've got my little speaker here somewhere, and that's my Dex, man. That's my Dex.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, you're right, man. It's about the vibe. Everything is about the atmosphere. Yeah.
Because that's really like contrasting, went from like video to music. I only found this out a couple of weeks ago. Like when you mentioned it, I was like, wow, like you're a talented mother something.
Oh, thanks, bros. Well, I think it's like anything, if you apply yourself to anything in life, you can make it a profession. You can. And I think it's also just dedicating yourself to being a student to whatever you apply yourself to, and not kind of getting on your own high horse and thinking you're the best. If you always have that open ceiling above you, you can continue to learn. And I do, man. I learn from every single wedding, and I continually refine what I offer every single wedding. I'll look back at the day and I'll just kind of go, all right, well, that was amazing. This could have even been more amazing if this happened or this happened. And even down to like placement of the lights and stuff for the vibe in the venue. And the EQ on the speakers and song selection, and just people always come up and ask for things, and I'm like, actually, that's a great song. I've been asked for that song 4 or 5 times. I'm playing it because people want it. So like I'm constantly refining, and I think that's the way you got to be. Just have that student mentality, man, and sky's the limit.
That's it.
I love that. And I feel like me and Tim were chatting maybe last week about like something similar, in a sense of like for us personally, like, we're trying to work on what we do week in and week out. And, we don't know everything, and we always are evolving and learning. And if we're doing that, we're only going to improve on not only what we provide at the end of the day, but also the experience for all of our couples as well, which I think is amazing.
Yeah. And that ultimately is what it's all about. Hey, the experience for the couples. So, and I think that's where
100%.
And yeah, this isn't like a hard dig, but I think that's where some musos come and go, and they don't quite stick around the wedding world too long. If they've got like an ego and it's all about them, then yeah, they're kind of in the wrong field. Like you could go join a festival band or something like that and get your kicks, but at a wedding, it's about the couple. It's about them having the best, most unforgettable day ever. And I think ego is probably an enemy of creativity. And if you want to just have a flourishing creative world, you got to just get rid of that ego and realize it's about the bigger picture. And that's why I love working with dudes like you guys, because you're team players, and that's something that's so exciting. When you rock up to a wedding, hey, and you get vendors and industry people that all get that it's the big picture, and they all want to work together straight up, and they're like, bro, what's up? We're going to have the best day. And it's so much fun, so team players, man, and realizing it's about the couple.
It's a party.
It's so good.
It creates a vibe. Like, I know when I go for a run sheet, man, like if I see like, it's just different, right? Like it just hits different. Like when you go for the run sheet and you're like, oh, this is such like an A team, like a vendors, like you just know it's going to be such a good day. And it was like that, I suppose, like the other week when we had a wedding, right? And like the couple were really like for my brief, like they wanted something that was like super fun, like super upbeat. But like after the ceremony, it just kind of wasn't like hitting like the mark that they wanted. And we're like, we need to raise the vibe, like we need to like get some energy in this. And we had a chat. We're like, all right, let's just do something absolutely like wild, like for the entrance, right?
Yeah.
And we had some spare like confetti cannons, and I remember running over. I'm like, hey man, we've got to make this entrance as wild as possible. Like these guys are gonna absolutely rock it. And
it was so good.
We like kicked off. Hey, like that dance floor started at like 3:30.
It was unbelievable, man, and it was just like set the bar and it set that energy that flowed through the entire reception. It was such a good idea, man. And sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to work together, and on the fly, sometimes you got to be like, all right, let's just make this happen. Let's just make this epic by mixing it up and just going on the fly. All right, we've got it. Who has spare confetti cannons? This guy, Tim does. That's who. I love that. And so, like, we got these confetti cannons. We crank some tunes, and I'm on the mic and just run everyone up. And like, it was just amazing, matey. Like, I wish you could have seen it, bro. It was just everyone was just like, oh my gosh, we're here. We've arrived at the start of the party.
I wasn't invited to the party.
Would have been better if you were there, for sure. 100% better if you were there, man.
It was something that it was just needed, like, and we got it done, and they were so appreciative of it too. Like the couple, like that was the best. Like we definitely needed that. So yeah, that was good. And we were only talking about it the other day, like Maddie and myself, about like yes, like there is a run sheet, but like it's not a Bible. Like it's not. It's basically it's just a guide. Like as vendors, like if you're serving like the couple, like you're free to like make those decisions, like whatever's going to be better like for the couple in that moment in time. So, that was a decision like I know that we all made like as a vendor team, and like it ended up just so well. And this is why like I always push like couples, like when I'm talking to them like during like a wedding consultation, like like who's your vendor team? Like it's not just about like spending all your budget in one area and like leaving like like desire to be left in the others. Like it's making sure that you've got a good balance of like a team, because it just makes such a difference.
100%, man. It's all about that teamwork, and I think when everyone's on board and everyone's together, it just happens. And like you said about the run sheet, you can make those decisions, you can adjust on the fly if everyone's on that same page. So yeah, it's really important, so important, just to have a team of just passionate, fun people at your wedding day that are going to contribute to that. For sure.
I love that. And so I guess while we're talking about like, the booking processes and things like that, like maybe just tell us a little bit, like, like do you meet up with your couples? Like what's your process in terms of like couples finding out about you, and obviously if you fit their vibe, but also if they fit your vibe too?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So my process is, on all of my inquiry forms and however people might find me through socials or websites or different things, I always try and catch a phone number, and I know some people don't love talking on the phone, but I think personally it's one of the best ways just to kind of meet someone, catch their vibe, for them to catch your vibe, like you said, Matt, and just talk to them and see what kind of people they are, and you'll know straight away as a couple if the entertainer that you're booking or any vendor that you're booking is your kind of person, by just that first few sentences, really, because you'll be like, yeah, this is my people, this is the kind of guy that I want to celebrate in my biggest day of days. So yeah, I try and do a phone call or a Zoom chat straight up with people, and then obviously send them through all the options and things like that. So we do a bit of back and forth. I think sometimes we can all get caught up in the tech world of emails back and forth, and it can take away a bit of the human side of it. But I've found too that with a few calls, you get through 20 emails worth of information. So when I book people, I just love chatting with them. I love kind of seeing what their heart is for the day, what they want to do. And just, really catch their style, their vibe, and then see how I can contribute to what they're trying to create. Because I guess too,
that. And obviously what we do is super important, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's super important. And because it can make or break the day. Like I said, I saw so many musos that were just destroying the vibe, and like all these other people, all the other vendors at the wedding were trying to build it into this epic party. But if one part of the link doesn't work, well, then it makes it a lot harder to get to that peak, of what the party should be. So yeah, it's really important. And every element is important, whether it be through photo, video, music, stylists, flowers, celebrant, everyone who's involved, food and drink especially, and you've got to make sure everyone who's there is your style of person. So yeah, I just kind of like try and eliminate some of the emails and just chat with people. So that's probably a good takeaway if you're planning your wedding. Just be brave, even if you don't love phone calls. Jump on a call and just talk to people, because we're not too scary, I don't think.
That's amazing, man. Like you love a personal touch, and I can relate to that. Like it's nice, and I collect phone calls as well, but sometimes it is difficult to like really get them on a call, especially if you've got them at a bad time. But let's what do you think's probably like the most like common like questions you get from couples, like when they do inquire with you? Actually,
most couples usually straight up, their first question is, do you DJ as well? Or do you MC as well? Second to that. And I got getting asked that for years and years and years. And I would always say, no. And then I started, like some couples asked me to manage their Spotify playlists because I wasn't a full blown DJ back then. And I was like, yeah, of course I can do that. I know how to read a room, drop the right songs. And that's kind of how I morphed into it. And then I thought, I want to have the control of this party and be able to just make this as best as it can be. So yeah, that's the biggest question. Do you DJ as well? And I think that's probably a nice takeaway too for listeners today when you're planning. If your vendors can multitask, I think that's a huge bonus. So hey, if your musician can DJ and even maybe MC, well, that's 3 things that one person can do. So that's 2 people that you don't have to contact. That's 2 other invoices you don't have to worry about paying, because it's all in the one thing. If your celebrant can MC as well, well then, hey, you've got 2 birds killed with one stone. So I think people just want it to be easy these days, and I think as vendors, it's our job to try and make it as simple for them as possible. So yeah, I get asked a lot if you can do multiple things, and that's probably why I ended up doing it. But yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, like for sure, man. Like it'll be, I suppose, like from my perspective, and I don't know, Matt, maybe you can talk from a photographer, but like it's hard to recommend like just someone that is just a musician that's not like a DJ as well, just because you add in another person kind of like into the mix. Like if you've got someone that's, like muso during the ceremony, like that can pick up on the vibe, that's there like throughout the whole day, that understands the room, that can actually understand the type of wedding party it is. Like for me, that's the full service. Like that's probably like the minimum, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm all, and I feel like as well, like I think with like when it comes to like music stuff, like me and Tim like harp on about music a lot, and it's not just because of like what the musos do, but me and Tim use music a lot throughout the day, when it's like in portraits, whether it's in prep, all that sort of stuff. So we're massive on music because we think it sets a vibe, and it's, like you were saying before, like with the reception entrance, like if the tunes are on point, like, and everyone's having a good time, it's setting the scene for the entire day. So I think, mate, you have probably one of like the hardest jobs on the day to entertain everybody, and read the room. Like, I feel like that's such a skill. Yeah, and not everybody has that ability though, right? Like, it's easy for like a lot of DJs to chuck a song on and just mix it into the next song, and like, you know, they've gone from one song to like some outrageous song that does not fit the current vibe. You know, like, where I feel like there's definitely musos, i.e. you out there, that are just killing it and can definitely read the room to the best of your ability. Mate, I'm keen to like dive in a little bit more as to like, you know, like other like offerings that you give. So like at the moment, like, you know, you've touched on like basically that you're like obviously do like your acoustic stuff, you do some MC and some DJ stuff, and you've got like a trio. Like, maybe just tell us a little bit more, like, you know, what are the differences? How often do you book like bigger packages, sort of things? Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure, man. Well, I think probably primarily these days I'm getting booked for the full day package, which is pre-ceremony entertainment, and then special songs learnt for the ceremony. So I'll song, register signing song, and then a walkout song, a big celebration there. And then usually most of the time I entertain the guests while people are getting photos. Sometimes jump on the mic and say, all right, group photo, help out these photographers rather than shouting over the music, and we work together again, you know. Sunny's off, boys, make sure you can see the photographer. You know, I got to give you guys some love there. And then
the sunny's off.
Yeah. So sometimes the mic's handy for that. But after that, yeah, like you said, man, with the reception, I'm DJing. I've got the trio band as well, or with the 4-piece, epic sax player. I work with a lot of different musicians, and I have over the years. And I actually build my band around the style of the people. So I know that different musicians I've worked with in different capacities over the years, that are all pros that can just jump in at any notice. They all have their own unique offering, and any party is just the sum of its parts, right? So so I know I'll bring in that drummer for this kind of party. I'm like, okay, these guys, they wanted this certain sound, this certain style. So I'll build my band of the guys that I play with. And they're all amazing. They're all amazing. Some of them are super flexible too. But I guess when you're talking about different offerings, back in the day when I started out, I just loved my reggae, coastal tunes, bit of Jack J. You know, I was all about those chill island vibes, sitting on a beach. I've played in reggae bands and stuff over the years. And then as I did more and more weddings, I got all these requests for like romantic love songs, and my list just kept growing. And then I was getting all these obscure stuff like, hey, can you play this Amity Affliction metal heavy song, but acoustic version of it for my ceremony? And I'm like, heck yeah, that sounds like awesome fun. So I like make these, and I've actually got one. I was practicing one.
That's hectic. That's so good.
Yeah, I was rehearsing one earlier today because I've got another one, actually Amity Affliction song that I'm playing for this awesome couple who are hard rockers. But obviously a wedding acoustified version of it. So I really like to just make it personal. So when you're saying what offerings, I make it personal, man. I build the music, I build the scene, the vibe, even the people I bring in, whether it be, you know, the band or whatnot, around what the people are wanting. And then, yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm a bit of a wedding planner too. Like it's my own fault, because I always say to people, hey, if you've got any questions between now and the big day, hit me up. I've done this a few times. I know some stuff. And I mean it when I say that, but a lot of couples come back to me and they're like, hey, you know, what about this idea? What about that? And then I'll help them and throw my thoughts out there. So, yeah, I just kind of feel like I'm involved.
That's good, man. And I feel like, yeah, like, and that just shows that the value that you're providing as well. Like, and Matt, I've spoken about this as well. And it's like, because like we want to deliver, like we want to over deliver, like we want to provide as much value as possible. And we end up falling into that trap of like, okay, like now the couple like trusts us and they come to us with like all these like different questions to like bring like their wedding to the next level. But like just as like a couple would inquire with me about video, and like they understand that they want a video but not quite understand like what is like the deliverable that's going to be best suited to them. Like, how do you like walk them through a process? Okay, like do you just need myself as like a soloist, or, you know, do you need a duo, a trio? Like, do we bring like the sax like guy on? Because that's pretty wild, man. Like, that's so good.
Yeah, well, I just ask questions, man. I say to them, what is your, because I mean, let's be honest, these brides, man, they've been thinking about it since they were, 12 years old, maybe younger, and whether they realize it or not, brides dream about their wedding day their whole lives. Us guys, we think about it once we've asked missus to get married a few years later, but girls have thought about this for a long time. So my first question is always, what have you dreamed up for this day? What is your ultimate fantasy wedding, and how do you want it to look? And so I'm constantly asking questions, and then I'm like, okay, all right, well then this is what I would suggest. And they kind of take themselves there, but I think it's asking the right questions that they don't know to ask to help them arrive at that place, which then helps them go, all right, well, this is how I'm going to organize my day of days, because this is what I want. So it's helping them understand what they want by asking those questions, and then, yeah, just gently giving them advice to get them to that finish line, to the big day.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you ask the question of, like, you know, if, like, especially for, like, you know, as I said, most brides, like, they've been thinking about this for a long time. Like,
yeah.
And I've actually been thinking about this lately too, of, like, you know, how can we up the game a little bit, and how can we service our couples better? And by you asking the question of, like, you know, what is, like, in the fantasy world, what is it that you look like your wedding looks like? What is it that is going to make your wedding, like, take it to the next level? And then you may be able to solve a problem for them, meaning, like, you may be able to have a solution for their, you know, what they really wanted. And it's literally, I have it written down in front of me at the moment as a piece of paper, like, to ask couples in, like, a question of, like, you know, what is it that is going to make your wedding amazing that you think is unachievable for your current budget or for your current thought process? Like, how do we get your level to how do we get your wedding to the next level? And I think that's an awesome question to ask.
Yeah. And
it's all about making it personal, right? Like,
oh, absolutely. And the podcast you guys put out just a little while ago about those traditions, that do we really need to have these traditions? I thought that was brilliant. You guys nailed some really good stuff on that one. And that's something that I bring up with my couples all the time as well. I'm like, hey, like, why do you think you need to do it that way? Because a lot of most people haven't been married before, and that, yeah, often there are second weddings, but they usually just want to be chilled out ones. But first time weddings, people, they don't know how to do it because they've never done it before. So I just let them know it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to think outside the box. It's actually all right for it to not be the way every other wedding they've attended was, and they can make it their own, because weddings should be personalized. I had one bride, she, all she wanted, her main thing, and she was quite sheepish when she told me, but then after I kind of brought it out of her, I said, we can do that. And she said to me, I want to do that. I would have just loved to have seen that, that whole scene from some movie, Love Actually, where they're getting married at the chapel at the end, and they're walking out, and they're singing that song, all you need is love, ba-ba-da-da-da, and, like, the trumpets all pop up out here, and then a sax player jumps up over there, and I'm like, let's do it. Why can't we do that? And she's like, really? Could we do that? I'm like, yeah, do you want to do that? And she's like, oh, that's my dream. I would have loved to do it. So I got my sax player, I got my trumpet player, and he comes popping up. He's like, as soon as I started playing the song, he comes walking down one way, the other guy comes out the other door, and they both start playing, and everyone in the church is like, whoa! And then we basically redid that scene from the movie, and it was amazing. It was amazing. Oh, and people looking around like,
we need video. We need video of this.
Oh yeah, man.
We need video.
That is.
It was a lot of fun, and I think that's just the thing.
Maybe we need to, like, insert the clip of this.
How good is it? We get so excited by this, hey?
It's so exciting, because I guess we can give someone everything that they've dreamed of and we can make it epic. And I love the name of your podcast for that. I keep saying it, but it's so true. You can make it epic by doing certain things, and by, just getting the right people on board, and just thinking outside the box, and just going, you know what, this is my wedding. I'm going to make it the way I want it to be. And on the flip side of that, it's probably worth mentioning really quickly too, like, I have some couples that want to just totally do everything totally different. But in a lot of ways, the reason people do things at weddings in certain orders and things is because it works. And it's the way that we've always done it, because, hey, there's a lot of merit to doing this first and doing that. And hey, if you want to cut the cake straight after the ceremony, then do that. You don't have to wait till the end, but there's some things in the flow that work well. And that's where I just chat it out with my couples, and I tell them honestly, if they want to do something totally radical, I'm like, we could, but it's going to mean this, and we might have to change this as well to make that work. And so yeah, it's just that discussion, man, that and then just dreaming it, making it happen. Because anything's possible, really. It's 2023, mate. Anything's possible. We can do anything these days.
That's it. It's so good when you got such a creative team that just kind of want to push the boundaries in some aspects. Like, I know for me, I keep wanting to want to push certain things, and it's, I'm always about getting to know couples beforehand, and as part of my my onboarding process, I ask these questions to really understand who they are, their personalities, and figure out what is it about them that makes it them. I feel I don't know, a couple of years ago, when things were just kind of set and you just do things because that's what you do in a wedding. Like, you know, like maybe vendors like fell into the trap of, yeah, we just do it this way because that's what you always do. But like these days, like it's so much different, but it also like confuses like couples in the fact that there's now such a wide range of like vendors, like with so many different creative skills in the same industry. And it can make the process of choosing the right vendor, you know, like a bit of a mess, right? Like, and hopefully we offer like some value in what we're talking about here to kind of like cut through, you know, like that noise a bit and like showcase like, you know, what are the vendors that are really like there for you and offering value for you? What are the vendors that are really going to go that extra mile and make sure your day is epic? Because it's like, it's not just about you, but it's also like, we want to have fun as well. Like and that's what we do. Like we like really get a high of making sure that we can make your day absolutely sick.
Yeah, so true, man. And on that, like, I've watched you guys. I mean, the thing about being a musician, right, is I'm sitting here, I'm playing during the afternoon. I'm kind of a bit of a fly on the wall. I see everything, man. I watch the whole thing unfold, and I'm not just off in my own little world. I'm watching everything, and I really love watching you guys and the way you operate. And I've seen you both just come up with mad ideas and do crazy things, and Maddie's made the call and gone out and got epic night shots, you know, because there was some epic sunset, or there's a bit of rain sprinkling, let's put some backlights, let's do something crazy. But I say to people, like, one of the biggest decisions when you're talking about choosing a vendor, that's why I'd love to just jump on a chat or a call, or I always encourage people, hey, come to a gig. I try and squeeze in public gigs during the year so couples can come and meet me and say hi and see what I do and hear me play. Because it's one thing online versus, you know, live. You want to make sure that it's what people are showing online is what they can actually deliver. But what I love watching you guys and what you bring, it's not everyone can do that. So I always say to people, the most important people that you're going to have on your day, I think, in my opinion, are your photographer and your video. And that's why, like I said, I love watching you guys do what you do, because you bring energy, and you will spend more time with a couple than anyone else on the day, right? You're there from the very beginning, getting ready shots. You're in their personal space while they're all putting on their final little bits of jewelry and shoes and putting the cologne on the boys, having a laugh, right through to, you know, once the dance floor's kicking off, and sometimes even longer. So, like, I always say, make sure you catch the vibe of your vendors, especially photo and video, and everyone too, but especially the people you're going to be spending that time with, because if they're not fun, if you're not catching a fun vibe, don't book them. You know, you want to be around people on your day of days that are going to bring that energy, bring that fun. And so that's why I think, yeah, photo video is very, very important. And then especially as the day goes on, music is so important too, because that kind of dictates again where it can go to. So all aspects of a wedding, they all come together. And yeah, so when you're saying about sifting through the vendors, it's finding the right one and putting that energy into, sometimes it can, you know, putting a few inquiries out. Or maybe going to a few gigs of different musos, or, you know, meeting a few different people before you find someone that you can connect with.
Yeah, that's such a great idea as well. Like you doing public gigs and, like, you know what, like, these are my dates. Like, come, like, watch me live so you get like a good feel for, you know, how I am. That's offering some amazing like value there. And I suppose like we do harp on a lot about how important like entertainment is like for a wedding. Like, it is so important. We've gone through it before. Like, go back and listen to our previous podcasts on it, or make sure like you're writing down like Tay Plain if you're a couple looking for an epic muso. But like, what's probably some advice that you could give to like couples that are, you know, looking for wedding entertainment, right? Like, because not all of them completely understand like the power of like just how important like a good entertainment team is.
First advice I would give any couple is don't wait, because you would find that the topper part of the industry, the topper echelon of what people can bring, the really good ones are going to get booked up early. So don't wait. Often some people, like even this week, I've had 2 inquiries for the next 2 weeks and 3 weeks time, and I'm like, I've been booked up for those Saturdays for a year and a half, so sorry, I can't help you. And I send off my recommendations, but but again, like if it's something that some people don't think about till the very, very end, and I'm like, man, it's if you really want to get the right people, good people, get in early. So don't wait when it comes to entertainment. Get out, even if it's a year and a half away. Just had one inquiry from a guy today for 2025. He said, we don't have a date yet, but we really like what you do. We just want to know about your packages, and can we get put on a wait list for when you open up bookings. And I'm like, yeah, sweet. I'm like, people like that, I know that I want to be part of their day because they're organized, they're passionate, they're excited about what I can do. So yeah, it's just about getting in early, I think. And then that way too, you kind of know what you've been able to suss out a lot of what's on offer. I think reviews are massive. If you can't go and see like your vendors play a gig, or if there's no gigs on that you can make, check out reviews, because yeah, people put out honest feedback on what vendors have done for their day, and I think that they are just gold. And I think that's why I don't do any advertising anymore, because it's more just about word of mouth, and people read the reviews of what other brides have said, and it just kind of just works. So reviews are really helpful.
Well, that just shows how good you are, right?
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah. So like no advertising, and you're booking out a year and a half in advance. So good, man. Well done.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's a great industry, and I think it's like anything. When you do it a lot and you're just passionate, you're fine. You do it for the right reasons as well. Like, man, the 6 weddings, I just said before, I had 6 weddings in the last 2 weeks, and it was like, for me, that's a lot. I know photographers and you guys, you can do a lot more than that, but for me, it's a big, long, massive thing. And but even at the very end of the 6th wedding, I was packing down, and I don't do this. It's not like part of my package. It's not what I offer everyone, but it was just in that moment. There was a couple of the guys, the day was over. There was a few fires going on. This venue was still kicking on. It was actually the venue's niece, the venue owner's niece. So it was all kind of family, and everyone knew everyone. They're all kind of in with the venue. So they were kicking on around the fire, and it was just that kind of moment. So I pulled out the guitar, because we were chatting guitars, a couple of dudes, and we ended up having a jam around the fire with these 2 dudes, and one other guy jumped up singing, this other guy, and it was just unreal, So it's all about the vibe. It's all about the vibe.
Tay's campfire specials.
I was about to say, I was like, is this an additional offer you're going to start giving to people, where it's like, unplugged, like late night love songs by Tay Plain?
No, maybe not. I don't know. It'll be expensive. But my point is, it's like, my point is, you just got to get people who love it, who're doing it for the right reasons. Because if they're doing it just because it's work and they want to make money, maybe not. If they're doing it just because they fell into it, or it's just the only thing they know, maybe not. You've got to find people that love what they do and are passionate, because they're going to bring something no one else will be able to.
Yeah, that's it.
I feel like that's huge as well, because for photo and video, this sounds terrible maybe, but we can get self-gratitude because we're getting photos and images out there, and then people are sharing them and really pushing them around. So for us, it's easy to kind of stay hyped and stay excited and really love what we're doing. Where for musos, man, it's such a hard slog, because you guys are working your bums off, but no one's people are noticing it, but it's not something that it continues beyond the day. It's one of those things where they might remember you and they're like, oh my goodness, that muso was amazing. But there's still a difference, because you're there working your bum off, you're singing away, you're bringing the good vibes. And let me tell you, I've been to a wedding before where there was 0 tunes whatsoever. Not even someone playing an iPhone song, for the bride to walk down the aisle and the couple to walk back down the aisle the other way. It was so. Ever since that wedding, and this was actually quite recent, won't say who it was, but it was one of these things where I'm like, man, music is so huge. And also you're not, sometimes it's I would say you're not valued enough at times with the level of I don't know, the level of need and how well you guys do on the day, because there's not a lot of gratitude, I would say. So yeah, you guys are killing it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's tough,
it's really nice.
It's almost I feel it's hard, because we're in an industry that's not very forgiving at all, right? Anything that goes wrong, if there's, if you start to get a bad name, it's almost that's it. It's more those weddings or those vendors that have a bad reputation, they don't stay in the industry for very long, and it could be a multitude of reasons. But just say a DJ that doesn't quite get it right, he's not going to stay in the industry for very long, and it's not very forgiving. But I feel as a muso, Tay, when people say, the wedding was freaking amazing, it is all credit, because you create that environment. It's when people say, oh, the wedding was pretty average, like a lot of that could be contributed maybe to like a bad muso like as well. So almost having like no, you know, like no credit in some aspects is, you know, like you did a good job as well.
Yeah, no, thanks, fellas. It's nice to get a bit of appreciation. It's nice to be on a podcast and have people say that stuff because it is true. And I think there's legitimate reasons for that because some people just aren't music people, right? Some people are like, what's your favorite music? They're like, oh, I didn't listen to music. Like, not everyone is passionate about music, but everyone goes to weddings. So even there's going to be people at weddings that aren't massive music appreciators, but what they do appreciate is good atmosphere and like that lift that music can bring. So they might even not understand what's going on, but music can lift to that place. And I think what it comes down to is what you count success as. And for me, success is seeing that bride and groom at the end of the night just come up and give me this massive hug and say, this has been the best day ever. Thank you so much. That's success for me. And that's when I can finish a wedding and go, I might not have the photos to take away or the video, sick highlight reels that you guys put up that are just fizz on when I see them. I might not have that to go, hey, this is what I did at that wedding. But if I can go away with that hug from the bride and groom and just feel like they're my best friends at the end of the day and know that I've given them that lift of energy to that point where they're just in euphoria, the best day of their life, and know that I've helped contribute to that. For me, that's success. So it's nice to get recognized with stuff too, but for me, I've not allowed that to be the reason why I do it. I think the reason is just to keep it about them and know that I've been able to contribute to someone's biggest day of their life, and man, what's better than that? It's so good.
It's so amazing that that's your drive and that's your motivation as well. Like we were saying, like the wedding on the weekend, like Matt and I did, like the couple were just so appreciative of the things that we did like during the day. And it was just such a good time. And we were on such a high. Like the couple at the end of the night, like come up to us, like gave us a big hug. And we're just like, you guys were absolutely like amazing. Like I feel like you guys are leaving like as our mates, like, and not just like vendors, which was like, which is really cool, right? And like the whole way home, I was like, yeah, sick. How am I going to like edit this? And you know, I went home, I even like edited like a little like reel for them like that night because I was just so pumped. But like, it's good when you can actually see what motivates like your vendors as well. And I'm glad, like, you know, like what's motivating you is, you know, like you're like that result, like for your client at the end of the night, like them having a good time, like them coming up to give you a hug and showing their appreciation. I can relate to that, man, so much.
That's so good, man, because people matter, you know, and I think that's what it comes down to. People are important, and without, you know, sounding too deep and philosophical, I feel like one of my purposes of being alive is to uplift people and to just add value to people and make people feel good. And if I can like leave my encounter with that person and know that that's the difference I made in their world on the biggest day of their life, well, that is the best thing I can do, you know, and that's how I want to be remembered when I'm not cool anymore, to be able to be singing at weddings with some old guy and there's all these young dudes out there killing it way more than me. Like, I want to be remembered as that guy who brought good energy to that wedding day, to that event. And even now, like, I played a gig at a brewery the other day. I had 5 couples come, 3 that were from past weddings and 2 that from weddings coming up. So 2 were there to see me for weddings that they've already booked me with, and 3 were just couples that came along to a gig to see me because they felt like they didn't get enough of it on the day. They were busy doing other things, and they're like, we really wanted to come and see you play again. And I pulled out all their songs from their ceremony and took them back to their aisle walk and their first dance to give them that. And even when I see Matty at weddings, I play his song for him that I learnt for him on his ceremony, and it gives me a little nod.
I was going to say that. I was like, this guy pulls them out.
And because at the end of the day,
I love it. It's so good.
Those are the things people remember, and people matter, you know. And if you can make people feel good and give them a bit of loving, man, what's better than that? What's better than that?
Well, Tay, I've got a question, mate. It's actually more of a favour, all right? And
right.
as you know, as part of this podcast, like we did an intro way back in the day before we even started, like episode 1, right? And it was just a quick, you know, like have a bit of a chat, and then we cut it together. We're looking for a new intro, mate. Would you be up for recording one for us?
Oh, mate, 100%, like a little jingle, like a song. I'll do anything for you boys.
We need to make it epic jingle.
All right, we need to make it epic.
Yes.
Epic jingle.
All right, watch this space.
This space. It's happening, ladies and gentlemen. It's happening.
It's coming out.
It's coming
to all stores near you.
Yeah. All streaming platforms.
So love it.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. We can make something.
I just want to say as well, like, I love your little statement there, Tave. Just like how you want to make sure that people remember you for like what it is that you do, and then like just how like you want to make sure that you leave a bit of an impact on other people. Like it's something so human, and I love that because, you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, what we do, it can be quite lonely. You know, we work for ourselves and, you know, we're ticking boxes and we're, you know, going to a lot of weddings and we're meeting a lot of people. But regardless of the people we meet, like, I love that you want to, like, make an impact on everybody. And I feel like that is something that is very special to have as a vendor, you know, and let alone, you know, like, a vendor who is there to entertain people. Like you have like the microphone has a lot of power, a little bit like our cameras have a lot of power.
Yeah.
People like are listening to you. And if you can portray that through your music and the way that you interact with people, like it's really going to make an effect on like not just the couple and the vibe of the day, but just everybody there in general. And I just, wanted to give you a little props, mate, because I do love that for sure.
Yeah. Thanks, Matty. Cheers, brother.
Legend, bloody legend, mate. I want to just quickly touch on, like, have you got any like golden nuggets, like something that, like, you know, like we're getting towards the end of this epic podcast, which I don't know how we're going to end this because it's just so good and there's so much value. But like, is there a golden nugget of information that you're like, if you are listening to this podcast and we're talking about like wedding entertainment, you know, like not maybe just that Tay Plain would do, but like anybody is out there planning and they're like struggling with the entertainment world of music, like is there one thing that you're like, you need to do this?
One thing. There's probably a few things, but one thing. I think as far as like live music goes...
I'll give you two.
All right. Okay, I'll give you two then. I've got two. As far as live music goes, the nugget...
It's all right. Matt did this to me the other day, and instead of one thing, it ended up being 5 things. It's all good.
This might evolve into that, but I'll try and keep it brief. So the gold nugget, I would say, as far as live entertainment, live music, make it personal. So many people say, "Oh, I really wanted this song, but I don't think people will like it." And my reply to them is, "Who cares? This is your wedding. It's not their wedding. Make it yours. If it's outside of the box, that's totally okay. Like, make it yours. So do what you want to do with your wedding. Don't get pressured by other people, even family, and friends and stuff. Do what is in your heart to do for your day, because it's about you at the end of the day. And you can be selfish with that. Like, you have permission from vendors right here. Make it epic. Wedding podcast. Just do you, and just make it your style. You got to do it, because at the end of the day, this is the one day that you'll have to celebrate with all these people. You'll never have these people from both sides of your family in the same place at the same time ever again. But make it about you, and just go, this is what I want, and I'm just gonna be selfish about it and just do it, and then you know what, they end up being the best ones anyways, because they're the ones that are unique and special. As far as like DJ music goes, this might be a little bit selfish, but here's a gold nugget for you. You ready? Ready for this one? You know how people...
I'm ready. I'm strapped in. Seatbelt tightened.
I'm going to try not to be too venomous when I talk about this. But you know how people, when they do an invite, they say, it's a really cool idea to say, hey, let's do a song request when you do your RSVP. What you get when you ask people for a song request for that is you get a list of 17,000 songs that don't work together, that are thought up. So these people are sitting there in their lounge room watching TV or whatever, and they're RSVPing to your wedding. They're not in your wedding space. They're not in that creative. They're not in that environment of how your wedding's going to be in a year and a half from then. And they've thought of just some random song to be funny, and then they've put that through. And now you feel obliged to give that to the DJ, and the DJ feel obliged to play it because he's got this list of all these random songs that don't flow together, that aren't really related to this time and the moment of the day. They're related to all different people in different spaces out there. And it just never really works. It never works. What you should do instead, as far as like when it comes to DJing, obviously like the DJ will get your vibe. I've got a big questionnaire you send through about, well, what's your style, what are your favorites, and all this for specific moments during the day. But what you should do is just say, hey, ask your DJ, and if it's me, it's yes. The answer, do you take requests? You know, and obviously they're going to be requests that work in the flow of the night. But of course you take requests, because we're there. The DJ's there for the people, right? DJ's there for them to have a good time. So instead of doing the whole on your RSVP, here's a song request, just say no, on the night we take requests, because then the song they're thinking of on the day is relevant to that moment, that space, that energy, and it makes for such a better playlist. And it's way less work for you coordinating all the songs and then getting them over to there. So yeah, so that's a little admin / organizing.
Love that
gold nugget. But don't do the requests on your invites.
I feel
do
like
them on
that.
the night.
I feel like that was one of I had a moment a couple of weeks ago in one of our recordings, and I was like, this really irks me and makes me really angry. I feel like that was a Tay, this really irks me and makes me really angry moment,
hey guys,
which I love.
So
That's that's what we're all about. Nuggets and irking moments. We're also a counselling situation, so don't worry. We're here to help you, mate.
I feel better now.
New segment on the podcast.
Counselling with Tim and Matt.
What irks you this week?
Yeah.
We're a safe space, and that's all that matters. So as long as you feel safe to share, we're here for it.
So safe.
Mate,
I feel so safe.
It's been a dream. It's been an absolute dream.
It's been so damn good to talk to you today. All things music and entertainment, and all things Tay Plain. And you know what, mate? I think it's time for you to probably share with us as well. Like, how do we find out more about you? How, where, if you're out there listening and you're like, man, this guy is a bloody legend, and he actually cares about my wedding, and I need him a part of my day. How do we find out more about you, mate?
Sure. Well, I've got all of the online avenues. You can find me on my website, which is tayplainmusic.com. I'm on Instagram, and my handle there is Taserland. Just my nickname. It's kind of stuck, and that's my world there, where you can see a bit what's going on in the world of weddings. There's heaps of reels and videos and photos and stuff there. Obviously on Facebook as well. I've got a YouTube channel, which has a lot of cover videos from weddings too, because sometimes you can see covers at a pub, but it's not quite relatable to weddings. There's a lot of clips there from weddings people can see that can kind of help you visualize what you're going to get on the day. So YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and website are the main ones. And look out for Spotify too, because I'm actually releasing some originals, and I'm recording a wedding covers album to help people with their choices of some of the best songs that I've been asked to learn for wedding ceremonies, which will come out at some point in the next few months as well on Spotify.
Nice, man. And just make sure.
And a jingle.
And to make it Epic Wedding Podcast jingle.
I suppose just for couples, make sure you leave your number there so Tay can give you a call.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wants to talk to you. As do we all.
Hey, no, thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, mate.
I have to say,
it's an absolute pleasure. All right.
Yeah. Thanks, man. It's a privilege to be associated with the two of you, and I love working with you guys, and I very much look forward to seeing you guys at a wedding soon. And keep up the great work. This is a great podcast, and I know a lot of people out there appreciate it. So you guys are legends. Much love.
Pleasure, man. Thanks for that.
Thanks, mate. We really appreciate it too, and we're stoked that we could burst that podcast bubble of yours, mate. It's the first one you've done, and we're excited that you came on ours for sure. So, mate, it's been a pleasure. And
given
his
setup, given his setup,
oh mate, if you're watching at home, he looks like a seasoned professional, and me and Tim look like numpties. But that's okay. We're gonna actually employ Tay. He doesn't know. Also, a part of the jingle, he's also going to come and set up our podcast studio for us as well at home. Yeah, that's what we need in life. Well, mate, it's been a pleasure, and thanks, mate. It's been a pleasure, and look, we've had a lot of fun chatting with you today. But if you guys are listening out there, make sure you check out Tay and his stuff. He's a legend. He's got some gigs coming out, as he said, over the coming months. And if you like what he's doing, go and check him out. And as always, we would love to hear from you guys. If you are frothing on what you're hearing and you're loving the golden nuggets and the goodness we are sharing, please reach out to us. Tim is not feeling the love on the old Apple podcast reviews.
Leave us a review, please.
He wants someone to write something nice about him, and that would be lovely. But yeah, look, as always, we appreciate you guys listening, and we will see you all next week.
Bye.
Cheers.